So the fuel pumps went out of this Colin crew truck to drill a hole in the bed because this thing has plenty of holes in it already. It ain't gonna make no difference. Get this fuel pump out quick, show you the dimensions you need to drill. And I don't know how super scientific this is. Took my tape measure, put it up in there between the center of the fuel pump, measured out here to the body, and I get about 30 inches. Our bed has a bed liner in it. It's obviously full of water. We're gonna need to drain that out, so we're gonna drill a hole through it and drain out the bed. We're afraid that if we took the bed liner out of it, the thing would fall apart. And if you don't know what the Colin crew is, you guys might want to look that up, especially if you have kids. This is terrible. My youngest son was grabbed by the arms and drugged for 2.5 football fields. Even though the criminals that did it were on video doing it in their car, got caught, got arraigned, got arrested, spent 0 days in jail. They were 15 and 16 years old. We worked to change the laws. Back to this fuel pump. So we drilled a hole in here, and then we're gonna cut a rectangle around the hole, larger than the hole that we're gonna put in the box itself, so we can pull that piece out and then reinsert it when we're done. Probably put some Permatex on it or something like that. Because I think the bed liner is the only thing holding this together. Yeah, so that's what we're thinking of doing. We're gonna drill a bigger hole because it's not draining really quick. We're not worried about going into the gas tank itself. There's about 3 to 4 inches above the gas tank. I think we sprung a leak. At least 8 inches, probably an 8-inch, 8-inch from the center, so you can make little marks. Yeah, that's gonna be a pretty big spot. We wanna make this spot larger than the hole that we're gonna cut in the actual bed of the truck. We want to make this removable.
It's about that ridge, basically.
Yeah, don't stand behind him.
I think it's this one, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I ended right here.
You could always Permatex this back down. We're going to finish cutting this out. Oh, look at that. I'm going to have to cut it on the other side. Kind of the thinking was that we'd be able to take the whole thing right out. Oh, we got that out of there. We just need to cut 6 inches from the center of that hole all the way around like a square like this, and then we can put it back together like a puzzle piece, or at least that's the hopes anyways. Yeah. Yeah, like that.
Maybe just to the edge of this?
Yeah, maybe just to the edge of that. Whatever's easiest. Don't have a freaking gas leak and do this. Okay. He relief cut it a little bit so we could pry it up this way. And we're going to see if we actually cut it in the right spot. Now, so we could have been a couple inches over there, but if we would have cut it 1 rib closer to us, it would have been a little bit better. But we couldn't cut it back closer to the rear of the truck because it would freaking run into a beam that we don't know is there. Ginger just pointed out, he went any further up towards the front, we would have ran into the beam and it would have been hard to do. So I think we can change this fuel pump with it in this position. Now we're going to take an air hose and we're going to blow all that stuff off. And we're going to put a little bit of penetrant on there to be able to loosen up the ring that locks this thing down. After we check and make sure we have the right fuel pump.
So, people used to make fun of Ginger so much that there's only 1 to 2% of us in the world. And so the thing is, you calling me Ingenious Ginger, you're acknowledging that I am a Ginger. So it's kind of a cool thing. And then on top of that, people used to make fun of us. There's literally stuff that I can't do that a normal person can do. And stuff like donating to a sperm bank.
Really?
Redheads can't do that.
Why?
Just because they don't like red hair, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe because you're angry. You do get pretty mad.
Yeah,
I mean, you get mad. So that's probably where the red comes from. All right, now we're going to blow that sucker out. So we believe this spins counterclockwise. technically speaking, you're supposed to use brass to not make sparks.
But I'm not worried about that. I don't have any fuel leaks. Should have been thinking about that when I was using Christian was using the die grinder.
Throw sparks down on the top of this gas tank.
All the things I've smelled out of the Colin crew truck, it hasn't been gas.
Right? This thing leaks everything but gas. Make a tool for this.
Yeah,
believe it or not, I do not own it. Actually, I probably do, but it's probably for a Chevy.
Usually
Take a pick tool and you pull up underneath that, or sometimes you even squeeze them and they release.
Yeah, but I can't touch the bottom.
If you can't get to both clips, take a pair of pliers, spin it gently, and then you'll be able to grab both.
Pop that up.
Okay. Does it come off yet?
Oh, good.
Don't break it.
Smell gas now. There she
Nice. Yeah, we can take a zip tie and zip tie it up to that line right there. So the electrical connector, the one edge slides over, and then you should be able to push down on the rocker and remove it. Remember the rule: if you can't get it off, push it this way and then sharply pull it back as you push the clip. Definitely got it unlocked. All right, well now we can take a pick tool and stick it right up underneath there, and then we don't break that clip. If you ever can't get them clips up, you can take this and slide that up underneath there, and then that should allow you to push down on your rocker right there. So we're gonna take a 90 pick tool, we're gonna stick it up underneath the edge of here and raise up on our rocker like this. I'm assuming if you're doing this, you cut a hole in the bed and all this other stuff, your truck is probably junk. So we raise that up, and we take this pry bar, and then you hit it with the mallet. And bam, she's off. Okay, so we had some rust built up in this thing, but it's been a long while since I had to take one of these things apart. But if you look at them slots right there, you can see they're closed right up. That's going to be a problem here in a minute, but I did figure out a solution. This is what it should look like, but it definitely does not. We just used a screwdriver and took it off. However, they do make tools that remove these locking rings, which won't distort them. Like on your Chevys and stuff, it'll distort them because they're real small. Christian's being really careful when he pulls that out because he doesn't want to break the rheostat, which is the fuel level sensor. But our new one has one. It's just taped up to the side here, and I'll put a link in the shop, and I'll probably put an Amazon link on there. I think I paid like 50 or 60 bucks for this thing, so it wasn't real bad. Came really well packaged for something from China, to be honest with you. Pretty darn good. Well, it looks like we should have cut this back further because now it's coming out, it's not coming up straight. So don't make the same mistake we did. You're gonna cut it back further. If it came up straight, we would probably be okay. So we're gonna have to take some tin snips and cut this back so we can fold it up a little bit more to get it out of the way, unless I can figure out a way to get this out. But it's running into the lower portion of it, and it's not coming out so easy. So I'm gonna have to do something. We could obviously break this one and get it out, but that does us absolutely no good because we have to get our new one in. That's the good thing about YouTube videos. When I make a mistake, it shows you not to make the same mistakes I make. So I would say this is a good successful story because you'll know why you have to cut it right above the opening. Now I'm going to trim this back so this is square, and I'm going to have to cut it back to about right here. Get it out of there. It's not going to turn out exactly the way I wanted it. I want it to look nice and neat. We are literally cutting a hole in the bed to not have to drop the gas tank. So we need to trim this back a bit, and hopefully I won't be forever known as Crispy Clay. But what we're going to do is we're going to trim this lip off of here. and then pull this whole lip up. Tilt this whole lip back. So when we take that pump out, it comes out square.
I'm gonna let you know, there's not a lot left in this.
Well, just put me out, not the truck. We let the truck explode. It's got full coverage. I can tell when I get up to the side of it. So I cut this in about 5 places because this metal down here is really thick, and then I can bend it up like a can opener. Yeah, and you can take a hammer and finish curling this up. We only need it really curled in the center.
And we should be good to go. I'm going to take and curl that up so it's out of the way too.
Okay, so let's see if we got enough room to get this thing out of here now. We need to be able to pull it semi-straight up, but I need both hands. I am screwing this thing around and moving it around. It is close. I'm moving it every which way except for the way you move your girlfriend back and forth or the cat scratches its balls. It is not coming out. This sucker is stuck. A lot closer than it was, but I don't see how this sucker comes out even if it wasn't inside this truck. There is most definitely a way to get this out without breaking it, but I did end up breaking it so I could learn the way to get it out. No, I don't watch other people's YouTube videos. I make this crap up as a go. So, if you didn't turn the video off and you're still watching, I'm going to show you the trick to getting this fuel pump in. And yes, because you're changing the fuel pump, you might as well just break the other one, pulling it out. But I'm going to show you what happens. Okay, we're going to take the base of the pump right here. We've got one clip that comes up right here, and we're going to slide this whole mechanism off of here. Down inside there, there's a little clip. All you have to do, run a screwdriver right up in there. You're going to run the screwdriver along this line right here, but just to the center of this piece right here. Once you get that pushed down, with 2 hands, you should be able to do this. Now I turn the screwdriver just a little bit, then I give it a little wiggle, 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 trying to do it, and then I can separate both pieces right here. And it's a little bit hard because you've got your wires that are connected. We can probably leave it just like this and slide it in because it's kind of barreled like this. So let's see if that works. So now this faces the front because our connection faces at 12 o'clock when we're looking down at the pump. So let's see if I'm right. I gotta take the rubber or whatever this is off my rheostat fuel level sensor. If you're ever looking for one of these, they're called rheostats. And they call fuel level sensors too. So just depends on who made it. I think that might be a rheostat, might be some kind of foreign name. I don't know. Now you want to dip your little thing down inside there. And now you want to dip that in there, get that like that. Then I'm going to see if I'm right about having to take that all the way off, which I don't think so. Now, when you go to push it in, it just clips back together. So now you can put your locking ring on. Don't forget your rubber gasket. Now I use the old one. I've done this for years. I put a little bit of dielectric on it, and I use the old one because the new ones are generally really hard and you'll never get the locking ring on. So we'll do that. We'll put some dielectric on there, stick that in its spot, hook everything up, see if the truck starts.
All right, so when we drained the water earlier, you're gonna wanna make sure you save a little bit of water still in your truck bed. You'll see why later in the video. All right, so you're probably wondering earlier in the video, Christian, what the hell is this water for? Why are we keeping it in here? Well, you gotta kind of wash off your fingers and start rubbing around this little line here, and that's where your locking ring goes. And when you do it, your fingers get dirty. So you gotta just kind of clean them off.
Huh. He is an ingenious ginger. That's a pretty good one. I like that, Christian. Yeah, keep water in your box.
I'm gonna keep the finger in the hole.
Yeah.
All right. So this is kind of springy. You gotta push her down there. And then make sure she's nice and sealed. Make sure you kind of can see a little bit of the lip right there sticking up over the pump. Now you're gonna take your snap ring. You got these little grooves here. The hooks are gonna catch on these.
That's all about.
No, I can see where the three of them are, but the shit's all rusted off. Look.
As long as you get it started, then you can use a screwdriver to start it, to get it to go the rest of the way, and it'll clamp down. If you folks don't know me, I'm blinder than shit. Christian is trying to get this to clamp down because I don't think he's ever done this before, and I'm trying to show him how to do it. But all of the tabs that clamp this down are all rusted away, so he's never going to get this done today. Not possible, but I come up with the solution to get this clamped down. I think this is kind of funny. If you remember looking at this ring earlier in the video, none of these notches were here, but I should have known this. It's just been so long since I've changed a fuel pump. So all of the tabs are rusted off of this, and this needs a new gas tank. I mean, you cannot lock the fuel pump down, but we're still gonna do it. However, if you're still paying attention, I'm gonna give you some wisdom here and drop some knowledge on you. If you take and curl these down just a little bit, it'll allow it to scoop it up and hold that fuel pump into place, and it'll allow you to start it easier. You just have to bend these down just a hair, just so they kind of grasp on there, and then that ring can slide up into that place. But I'm sure when we took this off, it probably had all 5 of them on there, or 6, whatever it's got, 5. So after a further examination of this, I'm going to go ahead and just clean this up, primarily these tips, and make sure this slides underneath there. And then that'll make them a little bit more pointy. We don't have to bend it down or anything. Taking my little cutoff wheel here, and I just moved it back and forth and notch these edges. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take the grinder and I'm going to grind this down. So that sucker looks a little bit better, and we're going to go try to put it in. I'll bet you it goes in a lot easier now. Okay, so this truck definitely needs a new tank. What happens is there's no lips for this thing to grab onto. So I was just standing around here and I was like, what the hell am I going to do? I don't know. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to self-drill and tap the hole. I'm just going to use self-drillers and drill this thing down and hold it in there. Yeah, I guess we're doing some crafty clay crap today, but man, she looks bad, but she's a trooper. So we're going to get the self-drillers out and drill this sucker down to this tank. Regardless, we got to replace the tank no matter what. So doesn't make a difference if it works or not, but we'll see. The hell. We'll take the self-drillers, put them in each one of these holes right here. I'll show you when we're done. So with one hand, I'm going to make sure it's clocked correctly and in the right place. Then Christian's going to put his hand over it like this, and I'll start the screws, hopefully. I don't want to over-tighten it, so we're just going to put it down there, and then he can hold this one, and then he'll be able to get his hands out of the way. Literally, these screws are right under your ball sack. Hey, at least it's easier to get out this way. Uh-oh. Where'd the socket go? Oh, right here. Whew. Thought I lost that expensive Matco socket or whatever the hell that is. It really does tighten down pretty well. I mean, but you probably can't put a lot of torque on it. It was almost like Dodge decided that this was going to be necessary at some point. So they put all these little clips in here for me to be able to drill through. Now I'll plug everything in and see if it works. The way you should be able to do it is you should be able to put the clip all the way in there and then snap it on there. So, hey, listen, fuckers, it ain't stupid if it works. He's gonna prime the key 3 times to make fuel pump up to the hopefully there, and hopefully it starts. Or we're gonna have to scrap the truck because it ain't worth putting a lot. Not the tailgate, but the truck. What? It's alive! Oh, it's alive! We don't know if it's gonna leak gas or not, but we'll just put a bunch of Permatex over the top of the damn gas tank. We don't care. It screams the junkyard, but it drives so good.